Welcome, everyone. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but I can hear the wedding bells. We are so excited tonight to talk about. I've been working on that one all day, but we're
That was
so
good.
excited to be talking about everything weddings and honeymoons on board Disney Cruise Line. We are thrilled about this topic because we know that it's a hot commodity to get. I mean, to be on a Disney cruise is beautiful and wonderful, but to get married on board, oh my gosh, it just adds so
Magical.
magic to another level. And some of the pictures that people have posted in the group just take your breath away. But as you guys are coming in, let us know if you are engaged, if you're married, if you're looking to get married on board, or maybe do your honeymoon on board, so that we can kind of tailor this to you. And then if you guys have any questions, feel free to submit those in the chat as we go through. We'll do our best to keep up with those. But if you have any specific questions, feel free to reach out to Laura. And Laura, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Laura-Greco. I'm with Fairytale Journeys, and I specialize in all things Disney cruise, but especially family and groups, which does include weddings and honeymoons and all of that great stuff that you can do at Disney World or on Disney Cruise Line, especially. So
Yes.
I'm here to answer your questions.
Yes, and to be a resource. And a reminder, Laura's services are completely free to you. So
Always
a
free.
added bonus. But we'll go ahead and get started. I know the first question that we saw come in is,
Mhm.
okay, so what's actually included when I get married on board a Disney cruise? So I guess we'll start at like the 1,000-foot level of, I want to get married on a Disney cruise. What do I get?
Okay. So you want to get married on a Disney cruise. So, of course, you're going to get, because you've booked, so you get all the inclusions that you would automatically get on the Disney cruise. So, you have your room, you have all your food, you have all of those included. So, now you've added on your wedding package, which includes your ceremony, your officiant. And we're going to go over that, the space, the champagne, the cake, the flowers. It all is included in the price of that wedding. And of course, there's some upgraded options that you can do. There's two different wedding packages that you can have. And it is very easy to actually book this, especially if you do use a travel agent. But if you don't and you want to do it yourself, there's a way to do that. And I'll go over that as well. And how does Disney Cruise Wedding work? It's book your room first and then have your travel agent or yourself contact Fairytale Weddings,
Got
and
it.
they will
And
help you do this.
so you can't just get married on board on your own. It has to go
No,
through.
you actually have to have it planned, and you have to do it as soon as possible because they can actually only do so many ceremonies on a
Oh, wow.
cruise.
I
It's
didn't
not
think
like it could
about
be a
that.
free for all. Yeah.
Yeah, could you imagine every time you walk through the atrium, there's another wedding happening?
Right. I mean, they can only do so many, and that's, you have to make sure you can grab that space.
Yes, absolutely. So I guess let's talk about how much is a Disney cruise wedding and what's actually included in it.
Okay. So you have actually two different options. You have two wedding options. You have an option A is $3,500, and that gives you the three options of deck 10 aft, so on the back of the ship, or in the Meridian Outlook, if you're familiar with the Disney Dream and Disney Fantasy, up on the Meridian Outlook. They're a beautiful area to get married, or the patio on the Meridian. Those would be your $3,500 options. But for those of you who are like, I know I've seen those brides on Castaway Cay. Yes. So that's an upgraded package, and that's $4,500. So the atrium or the Grand Hall on the Wish now, Wedding Point, which is an area on Castaway Cay. Maybe you've seen the brides there taking pictures. It actually faces the ship,
What a
or on the
beautiful
beach.
backdrop.
It
Oh,
is. And or it could be on the beach. There's an area on Castaway Cay that is on the actual beach that faces the ship. So it's another beautiful area on Castaway Cay. So those are the three upgraded areas that would cost $4,500. And they each include the on-site ceremony coordinator. So you have somebody there coordinating with you. You're not on your own. Choice of your flowers. You have the officiant and solo musician. So you do have somebody to play music when you're coming down the aisle. You have the cake and the champagne. Dinner for the couple at Palo. Now, you can have your guests join you at Palo, but your guests do have to pay $45. So it's up to you if you want to pay that for your guests or have your guests have that on their onboard. Hey,
Yeah.
they're at the wedding. Maybe they want to pay for their Palo. They get your outfit, your gown and your husband's tuxedo, steaming of all of that is included. So if
Oh,
you've
so
packed it and
nice.
it's all creased, they steam all of your outfits. You don't have to pay the laundry service for that. You get the keepsake knife that's engraved with Disney Cruise Line. And you get your wedding certificate from the cruise line
Oh,
as well. And the wedding couple gets $100 onboard credit from Disney Cruise Line.
wow.
And if you do choose to have your wedding on Castaway Cay, you get transportation from the ship as well as your guests. So all dressed up, nobody has to walk from the ship to the
Yeah,
beach area. They're going to bring
so
you in the golf
important.
carts. So
I know I've seen the brides going by in their wedding dress while I'm walking in a swimsuit and I'm all sweaty and probably sunburned.
right,
And I'm like, that's the VIP treatment that I want.
right. So they do take you, and you don't have to like sweat on your
Yeah.
own to get there. They do. They take really good care of you.
Oh,
So.
amazing. And let's talk a little bit about the wedding party and the guests.
Mhm.
Do I, as the bride, have to book all of them individually? Do they call themselves? How do I coordinate with everyone on board?
Okay, good question. So once you are booked, with you have your room booked and you've contacted Fairytale Weddings, or your travel agent has done this. Either your travel agent will now coordinate every guest for you, or you will contact your guests and have them book on the ship. And your Fairytale Weddings will make sure they're all linked so that they know that you dine together and that you're part of the wedding, and will help you if you decide that you want to give them gifts, little gifts, welcome gifts.
Oh,
They
so
will help
cute.
you if you want to purchase anything or leave them in the room. They all help you with that coordination as well.
Awesome. And I know the question we see all the time is, can we all eat dinner together? So
Oh,
that's
yes.
one perk of having somebody to help coordinate all those reservations, like a travel agent. You can all
Mhm.
make sure that you're not eating on that side of the restaurant and your other half of your party's eating on that side. You
Oh,
guys can all
no.
sit together and
We're
enjoy
going
the
to make
flavors.
sure that you're together, same rotation, same table, or at least two tables together in the same area. We're really good at making sure you're together the entire time.
Awesome. And if you don't want to be together the entire time, there's ways to escape.
We can make that happen too.
Right? We love the in-laws, but you never know sometimes. You never
Maybe
know.
you don't want the tables together.
That's
We can
true. No
arrange that.
judgment.
Do
Awesome.
anything you want.
And I know this question came up. So, do my
Mm.
wedding party and guests get any sort of bulk discount? Like I know, I was just at a wedding over the weekend, and we had a room block at the hotel. So, does anything like this exist? Because Disney cruises aren't the cheapest weekend away.
They
So,
are
is there any
not.
sort of discount here?
There is not. So Disney doesn't do the group booking or room block where they will discount the price. So this is something to take into consideration. However, I will tell you this: Disney gift cards can not only be used to pay for rooms and the cruise fare, but you can also use those Disney gift cards to pay for the wedding. I want
Ooh.
to put that out there, because that's a good way for those of you who go to Costco and go to BJ's and Target and buy those Disney gift cards discounted. It's a good way to pay for that wedding as well.
Yeah, if
Just
you
putting
can
it out
get,
there.
say, $50 on every 500, I mean, that
That's
adds up
something,
quickly.
right? And unfortunately, no, the cruise fare is the cruise fare.
Yeah, but they are getting everything
They
included
are
and
getting
everything, so
everything. Right.
yes, and the addition of the wedding. Um,
Correct.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, that is good to know. I know we're talking a lot about weddings. We're definitely going to get to honeymoons, but
Mhm.
wondering how much customization is there? I know some places you go in and it's a set amount of time with the photographer, a set cake. If I like chocolate cake, can I ask for chocolate cake, or are they automatically going to give me a vanilla cake?
Okay,
What kind
there
of
are
package?
options. There are some
Love
options.
options.
You can get a chocolate cake. Remember, you're at sea, so we can't bring food onto the ship. You can bring toppers. You know, you could bring your bride and groom topper if you want.
Mhm.
Um, but food on the ship is the food on the ship. So they will ask you, the coordinator will ask us what kind of cake you want, and they will get you the kind of cake you want. Also important to know, whatever you don't finish at the reception, it can't be brought into the dining room. It's health
Oh,
reasons. So whatever you don't finish, you could bring back to your stateroom and you can have it together on balconies or whatnot. It just can't be brought into the dining room. I like to tell people that as well. It's just something you should know. They'll give it to you for your stateroom, but they can't, for health and safety reasons, bring it into the dining room once it's been cut and started to eat. So yes, you can customize it to a certain level. I don't know that they're going to have cannoli filling or
yeah.
any of those specialty things, but chocolate, vanilla, they can do that for you.
Okay. Good to know.
Photographers, they have photographers on board, but if you want to bring your own photographer, bring your own photographer. They're not going to tell you no. It's not like those catering halls where they have to have their own liability and there's all these rules. You have a photographer you want, they can come on board. The reception, if you're going to add on a reception, there's a little more money involved in that because now you're going to look into menus and such. This is just another package add-on. It's not so bad. It's just not part of that $4,500 or $3,500. Those menu prices are just based on what kind of food you order or
Yeah.
want.
That makes sense. And I mean, we were talking about it before, but when you look at the grand scheme of planning a wedding, I mean, with how extravagant things can get and how costly, paying, I mean, I think you said $20, $40. What is it, 45, 40 for
For,
Palo?
yep, 45 a person for Palo. That's nothing compared to a wedding in New York where you're paying $90 a head,
Easy.
$120 a head on a Saturday
Yeah.
night, almost $200 a head. Um, you know, do a Palo dinner and there's your reception, $45 a head.
Yes. And I know we've gotten a question a couple of times about, oh, I just want to do a vow renewal, or it's just going to be myself, my partner, and one or two other people. But the price is the same, right? No matter if
Mhm.
you have two people or you have
Or
up to the full
16,
16.
right. It's the
Okay.
same price. The vow renewal and wedding ceremony are the same. So it's going to be the same price. Um, so have a big vow renewal.
Yeah. Go for it if
Go
you're going to
for it.
do it.
It's going to
Yeah.
cost the same. So do 16 people at your vow renewal. Live it
Yeah.
up.
And one thing I did want to note before I forget about cost, I know cost is obviously a huge concern for everyone planning a wedding, and everyone in general, especially these days. But working with a travel agent, again, it costs you $0. And
Zero.
people like Laura might have referral bonuses for some additional onboard credit, or maybe she can also help you coordinate with your airfare. So when
Mhm.
you're planning a wedding, it just helps to take a little bit of that stress off of your plate and just have somebody to talk through about what activities on board are going to be worth it for your whole party or just for
Mhm.
yourself and your partner. So keeping in mind there's ways to, even if it's $50 or $100 here or there, it can add up when you're referring 16 people. So just some
Yeah.
food for thought.
And when, grandma's a little nervous and your aunt and uncle's a little nervous and they're bringing it on you, it's nice to say, wait, call my travel agent.
Yes.
This weddings are stressful whether you're planning them at sea or if you're planning them at home. And in this case, you have someone else to push it off to.
That's so true. And I'm glad you mentioned on land. And I don't have this question pulled up, but how does this compare to getting married at Disney World? I know there's probably people who would argue that one might be better or not better. We're not
The
going to say worse because
minimums,
they're all.
they're magical either way, but I've planned them at Disney World, and there's a bigger minimum you have to meet. And let's say that we're looking at a minimum amount of 15,000
Wow.
to even consider doing it. And that's why I say, if you are a cruise fan and this is your dream, you want to get married and you want Disney in the picture, it might be more affordable to look at the cruise aspect of it.
Yes.
Because it's not cheap at Disney World.
Yes, and they will sell out too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness. And I'm not sure who submitted this question, but they're struggling to find flights, might have waited too long. Does Disney Cruise Line help coordinate flights, or is that something that you have to do on your own?
We could do flights through Disney Cruise Line. It's not a bad idea to do it through Disney Cruise Line because they make sure you make the ship.
True.
It doesn't mean they're going to be less expensive, but they'll find you a flight.
Yeah. And I would say reach out to Laura directly. We'll make sure to include the link to her page here. But that way, you can help coordinate, and maybe there's some tips and tricks that she can share. And I know we've been talking lots about weddings, but what about honeymoons? Would a Disney cruise be a good idea for a honeymoon?
Absolutely, 100,000% yes.
Agreed.
100% yes. Why wouldn't it be? You're relaxing, you're being catered to. Perhaps it's your honeymoon, so you bump it up a notch and you go concierge. Warning, once you've gone concierge, it's hard to go back, but it's your honeymoon, so why not do it? Splurge, be pampered, go spa, go couple massage, spend time together. In Quiet Cove pool. I know people think Disney Cruise Line and they think kids. No, Quiet Cove adult area. Paulo, Remy, Shantae. Oh my gosh, romance.
Yes.
So much stuff for you to do. It's about you, your newlyweds. Go honeymoon it up. Just enjoy. Go to the islands. Wherever the stop is, spend time together. That's what it's about. And we're better than to do it on a Disney ship that can cater to you and make it romantic. We can send stuff to your room: champagne, robes, roses.
Yes. I was going to say the romance package is always a hot commodity. And I'm forgetting what's in that off the top of my head, but I think the robes are in there.
Yes. So Fairytale Weddings does not book the honeymoons per se. They do the weddings, and your travel agent would book your honeymoon for you. Obviously, if you're doing a wedding through Fairytale Weddings, the cruise is your honeymoon. So you've booked your cruise, you've booked your honeymoon. The perks of that is your $100 onboard credit that you're getting for booking your wedding on board. If you're booking the honeymoon separately and you're booking through a travel agent like me, our agency does give onboard credit when you book through us. Many agencies do that, some don't. So it really is dependent on how you book the honeymoon. It's just Disney Cruise Line in itself is the honeymoon. It's not a separate package, put it that way.
And do you know off the top of your head what's included in the romance package?
Absolutely. I order it all the time. So you get champagne, a nice chilled bottle of champagne, a rose, a box of chocolate, and 2 plush Disney Cruise Line robes. And it's delivered to you.
Robes are so good.
They're so nice. It's actually sitting right here because I was cold.
Oh, I love it.
It's so soft and it's so plush. And they do keep that champagne on ice for you as long as you have not finished it.
Yeah.
But it's
And
really lovely.
I was going to say, a reminder, you can bring your own alcohol on board. It's it would be 2 bottles of champagne in this case, or 2 bottles of wine, but you can,
Mhm.
have the 1 bottle in the romance package and then 2 more for
Two
other,
more for yourself.
right? I love that. Fantastic. And I guess we could hop to this question quickly. When did the 2024 cruise dates drop? I know everybody has been asking. Any ideas?
They should have happened already.
That's what I'm saying. I was expecting the end of October. I'm like, come on.
It popped up in my memory that I posted that they dropped, I think last month. But I want to say that because of the hurricanes and because of the COVID protocols
It's
changing,
been a big year.
it's been a big year, so we're a little delayed. Oh, and the Melbourne, the Australian sailings, I
Yeah.
think everything kind of delayed a little bit. So I'm expecting them to be announced any second. And of course, when they do announce it, will be for January, February, March, and April, I think, will be as
Ooh.
far out as they go.
And speaking of January, February, March, April, I know this is for this upcoming year, but if there's a promotion like the Disney Plus subscriber promotion,
Mhm.
can my guests take advantage of that type of promotion when I'm booking a Disney wedding?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Okay,
if,
so just because you're part of
yeah,
a wedding party, it's not exclusive. You can still take advantage of any promotions.
absolutely. And in the rare case that there's a promotion like there is right now, with those third and fourth guests free, you
Amazing.
take advantage of it, and that'll get people booked for less money. So
Yes.
I
And
hope
that's
they do that
another,
again.
me too. It's such a great way to save, to incentivize people to try it. And I was going to ask, is there a typical amount of days that someone will do a wedding or a honeymoon on board, or is it really just whatever you want?
I've seen a lot of them on the short. Well, I shouldn't say. I've seen them on the Disney Wish already. But when the
Okay.
Dream was there doing those sailings, I saw them all the time. So I think people pick the shorter cruises, um, maybe financially because those cruises are less expensive to start with.
Yeah, that's a good
You do a
point.
7-night cruise, you're looking at $6,000 for a family of 4, let's say. And
Yeah.
then you put the cruise fare on top. So I think that people do the shorter cruises and get married, and they really just want Castaway Cay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the Wish is going to be a very popular wedding um, ship.
Oh, and that makes sense. She is beautiful. And then I know we're jumping back here, but as far as honeymoons, so I just got married. Maybe my COVID card, vaccination card has one name,
Mm.
my ID has one name, my passport. What all do I need to make sure matches up before I get on the ship?
Well, usually when you get married and you plan a honeymoon, you still have everything in your maiden name. So I
Mhm.
say keep it in your maiden name unless you pre-did everything and
Yeah.
everything matches your new name. Keep it in your maiden name until you get home. Because 9 times out of 10, your driver's license and your passport still has your maiden name. Sail like that. Don't
Yes.
change it up because you just became Mrs. blah, 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 probably that weekend. So just for the sake of the sail, you can call
Yes.
yourself, you can be announced on the ship as Mrs. whoever your new last name is with pride. You can even go
Yeah.
by that on the ship. But for the sake of getting on board, keep everything where it all matches. Please keep everything as your maiden name, not your new one.
Yes. And then once you get back, you
Then
can,
change it all over.
yes. And I was going to ask, as far as seeing people on board who are celebrating, I know I've seen people with the like Mickey ear top hat and veil. Do
Yes.
people dress up? Are you in your wedding dress or a wedding t-shirt, or is that not really something people do on board?
Oh, I see it on board all the time. I see the Mr., Mrs. with the Mickey ear veil boarding. You know they're newlyweds.
Oh,
Or,
I
you know,
love it.
it's adorable. I love all of that. And they wear the just married pins. It's
Oh, I
great.
forgot about the pins. And this
Mhm.
would be a perfect segue. If you are going on the ship as a newlywed, you have to play Match Your Mate.
Oh, they pick the newlyweds.
Yes, you have to play Match Your Mate. It's the best. You could probably explain it better than I can.
So, oh my God. So they take a couple like me who's been married for a million years, and they take a couple who may be married 10 years, and then they find that honeymoon couple who's been married a weekend.
Yes.
And they play that game, the newlywed game that they used to play on TV, where they ask the questions, but of course they don't have to be as correct as they do on TV. And of
Yeah.
course, it's at night. There's no kids in the club, so it gets not raunchy, but not Disney either. And it's
Yes, a little spicy.
hilarious. It's a little spicier. And the answers you get are hilarious. And I mean, they bring the guys, let's say they bring the guys out first. They're in Skyline drinking, they serve them drinks while the girls are answering questions, and then they bring them in and everybody gets a big laugh, and the bar is laughing so hard at the answers, and they do the same thing for the women. It's just a fun night in the adult area.
Oh, it's so true. And you become like ship celebrities when you're up on stage for that. And you get to know some of your fellow cruisers very, very well early in the sailing. It's
And then
great,
you see them up on deck, and you just like you just
right?
wink at them, and you're like, hey.
I know what you did. Oh, it's so fun. It's that has got to be one of my favorite parts of the entire sailing. Yes, the service and the food is great, but Match Your Mate, you can't miss it. You can't
I
miss
think
it.
one of the funniest questions was, what is the first thing your husband grabs when he wakes up in the morning? Now, I'm not going to say the answer. Use your imagination what the wife said.
Oh,
We were peeing, and he came back in and he said it. We were
wow.
rolling. It was the
Oh my
best
god.
ever.
Do yourself a favor, go to Match Your Mate. Oh my gosh, it's the best. Oh, and I know we're coming up on time. I want to make sure we get to everybody's questions here. So, they're getting married on the Disney Wish. Yay, that is so exciting. I have three daughters. Is there a way to do Bippity Boppity Boutique for them to get ready before the wedding? Great question.
There is no reason they shouldn't be able to, but keep in mind you're getting married, so your wedding coordinator should be able to get them into that if that's what they really want, but should also be able to get them into Senses Spa to have their hair done as well. But ask the wedding coordinator, I'm sure they will be able to get them into Bippity Boppity.
Amazing. And the Senses Spa, that's something that if I want to go and get my hair and nails done before my wedding day, that's something that I can tack on, or is that included?
That is not included at all. The spa never is, but you can get an appointment and they do your hair and your makeup and they put your veil on. It's really I've watched brides get ready while getting my toes done. It's
Oh,
really, I cry every time because they just look so beautiful when they get the veil on. It's, love it.
right. Oh my gosh, just something so magical. And then this quick question. So, you don't have to have a passport, correct?
No, as long as it's closed loop. So if it's sailing out of Miami and coming back to Miami, the answer is no. You don't need it. We strongly suggest you have it because God forbid something happen to you and you need to fly home from Grand Cayman. You can't fly home if you don't have a passport. So
Yes.
we do suggest you have it. If you don't have it, it's not the end of the world. You don't need it. You won't be denied boarding. No, you need a birth certificate though and a driver's license.
Yes, we always recommend a passport if you can get one, just in case worst case scenario happens. We've all, at this point, seen it all, heard it all. So it's just that peace of mind that comes with having a passport again, just in case. And then what about this question here? So is booking a cruise through Fairytale Weddings for a honeymoon, does that give you any sort of perks compared to booking through the Disney Cruise Line website or through a travel agent?
No. The only reason you would book use Fairytale Weddings is to book your wedding. They won't book your cruise for you. You book your cruise first, and then you call them to plan your wedding to see if the date is available. That's the order of contact. That's the order of contact. Book your cruise, make sure you're on the cruise, and then call. Your honeymoon's now booked.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really how it's looked at.
And that's another reason that having a travel agent, I mean, I know I will wave this flag nonstop because we use a travel agent and it just takes so much stress and pressure off. But having somebody to handle all that communication for you, and it's, you can have your travel agent book the cruise and have them reach out to Fairytale Weddings. Again, it's just one less thing that you have to do as a bride or groom.
Or groom.
Or mother of the bride, who's ever
coordinating. Whatever it is.
Yes.
Whoever's doing it.
So I guess, do we have any final tips and tricks? If you're talking to a bride or groom or anyone who's planning a Disney wedding or honeymoon right now, anything that you might want to leave them with before we end tonight?
I would leave them simply with, don't hesitate. They are magical. They can happen. This is one of those dreams that can come true. Even if you don't bring 16 people with you, don't hesitate. If anything else we learned, life is short. Anything can happen. This is a great way to have your fairy tale wedding. So price it.
Yes.
Contact us. Look at it. Don't toss it away as it's impossible. Really look at it, because it's really not impossible.
Yes.
And that's what I leave it with.
There's ways to make your wedding dreams come true if you want to get married on board or have a honeymoon on board. There's ways to make that dream come true, like Laura was saying. So feel free to reach out to her. Like we said, her services cost you literally $0. So having that partner and that buddy to help plan, it just makes all the difference. But Laura, thank you so much for your time tonight. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to keep putting those in the comments and we'll do our best to keep up with those, or feel free to reach out to Laura directly. But we will see you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.